I was giving a lecture at one college, and a lady stood up and said, well, the free market and United States capitalism is hostile to women. So I asked her, I said, if you're a radical feminist, what country do you want to live in? Saudi Arabia, China, or United States? Or if you go to jail, what country do you want to go to jail in? Is it Turkey or Mexico? You want to go to jail in the United States so you don't miss your HBO shows in the afternoon. That is, and it's a whole nother lecture, but the rise of capitalism brought about a more humane society, because prior to the rise of capitalism, the way to become very, very wealthy was through looting, plundering, and enslaving your fellow man. With the rise of capitalism, it became possible to accumulate great wealth by serving your fellow man, by producing things your fellow man wanted, by pleasing your fellow man. But many people say, well, capitalism doesn't work, or free markets doesn't work. Well, I think one of the reasons why it doesn't work, many times, is because it's not allowed to work. Almost every group in our nation has come to feel that the government owes them a special privilege or a favor. And I might say conservatives are no means exempt from this practice. That is, manufacturers feel that the government owes them protective tariffs. That is, to keep foreign goods out so they can charge you and me higher prices. Farmers feel that government owes them crop subsidies. Organized labor feels that government should keep their jobs protected from those who are not union members. Intellectuals, college professors, feel that government should give them funds to do research. That is, college professors love to get funds for do research on poverty and have meetings in a nice hotel in Miami during the winter to talk about poor people. Conservatives rail against food stamps. They rail against aid to families with dependent children, legal aid, but they come out in support for aid to dependent farmers, aid to dependent banks, and aid to dependent motorcycle companies. As such, conservatives very often don't have a moral leg to stand on. They just prove that it's a matter of whose ox is being gored. That is, conservatives as well as liberals, Republicans as well as Democrats, they prove H.L. Mencken's definition of an election quite correct. For those who have forgotten, H.L. Mencken was he was a political satirist, and he worked for the Baltimore Sun. And somebody asked H.L. Mencken to give the definition of an election. And H.L. Mencken replied, now quoting him, he said, "Government is a broker in pillage, and every election is an advance auction on the sale of stolen goods." To the extent that H.L. Mencken is correct, we've identified our problem as a nation. That is, many of us will blame politicians for our problems. And yes, we can blame politicians, but just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, the bulk of the problem lies with you and me, because politicians are doing precisely what people who elect them to office to do. What are they doing? They're using people elect politicians to use the power of their office to take the property of one American and bring it back to them. Now you say, Williams, that's pretty insulting. You know, we in Pennsylvania, we don't do that. Well, imagine that I'm running for the Senate in Pennsylvania, and I go back and forth across the state. And I say, my fellow Pennsylvanians, I've read the United States Constitution. I know what's in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, and if it's not there, the federal government cannot do it. So, therefore, do not expect, if you elect me to office, do not expect for me to bring back highway construction funds. It's not in the Constitution. Don't expect for me to bring aid to higher education. It's not in the Constitution. Don't expect for me to vote for prescription drugs. It's not in the Constitution. Do you think the citizens of Pennsylvania would elect me to the Senate? No, they wouldn't. And the tragedy of it is they would be absolutely right not electing me to the Senate. Why? Because if I don't bring back all these billions of dollars for people of Pennsylvania, it doesn't mean that Pennsylvanians will pay a lower federal income tax. All that it means is that New Jersey will get it instead. That is, once legalized theft begins, it pays for everybody to participate. And those who do not participate will wind up holding the brown end of the stick. And for those of you with a rural background, you know what the brown end of the stick is.